y'all, welcome back to the channel. Today we're here to talk about Real Housewives of Atlanta season 16 episode 14. While there was not a lot to talk about from the actual episode, we have some other things surrounding the episode, the season, that we need to discuss. So before we get into it, let's talk about the elephant in the room that we have not talked about here on the YouTube yet, which is one, Brit was a no-call, no-show to the reunion. Do I know if she called? No, I don't. Okay, I would imagine she called, but in my service industry brain, no call, no show. Okay, then it came out that she is suing Bravo for $20 million. Some of the things listed in the complaint were hostile work environment, harassment, emotional distress, I think it said. And like, here's the thing about a hostile work environment. I have listened to a couple of lawyers on the internet giving their feedback on it. And from what I understand, like, Bravo's saving grace was the fact that they did get rid of Kenya. And listen, I am a person that said, you know, I don't see why Kenya couldn't have her confessionals up until them, you know, severing ties with her. I stand by the fact that I do think it was a good idea that they did not continue filming with Kenya at the end of the season, or through the end of the season, and it's proving to be right. And my thing about the hostile work environment is, like, Brit, there is footage of you contributing to the hostile work environment. You were literally the one that mentioned pistols and whips. So I don't know how this is gonna play out, but one thing I am happy about is either way, we won't be seeing Brit Edie anymore back on our screens. And that's all I wanted. Okay, that's all I wanted. I'm gonna let Andy and them figure out the rest, the legal team. I'm sure they got it. Now, into the episode, and speaking of Brit, on my nerves where she usually is, she is complaining about the amount of shots that the women want to do. And like, here's the thing, you're actually grown. So you don't have to do shots if you don't want to. I was very confused by her continuing to try and push a narrative that she felt forced to drink. I think when they showed a flashback at dinner, she said the shots is too much for me. And somebody said, okay, you don't have to have one. You don't have to have one. But just because they're too much for you doesn't mean that they're too much for the other ladies. And then instead of just saying, I cannot do shots like that, I can't keep up with the girls, she results to saying, oh, shots are for college kids. We are wives. Well, some of us are. I know wives that do shots. I know wives that don't do shots. I'm not a wife and I'm not doing shots right now. You see how that works? I don't have nothing to do with being a wife and doing a shot. 2 plus 2 isn't equaling 4 there, right? And then she even says, we're not hood rats, ladies. Like, we can't do shots. Girl, hood rats do shots? Non-hood rats do shots? That is not hood rat behavior. If you don't want to batty shot a clock, do not batty shot a clock. It's very, very, very simple. And I would feel some type of way if I were Shamia too, if you kept trying to make comments as if I'm trying to make you drink. I am not. I myself am doing the drinking. You see how that works? Especially when you have a network like Bravo where you've had previous cast members try and say that they felt pressured to drink, right? Like Leah McSweeney, for example, which, by the way, I feel like Leah McSweeney, if she hasn't already gotten in contact with Brit, she probably is getting ready to. She's like swarming around her, because I understand that Leah struggles with her sobriety and I completely respect that. However, to expect everybody else around you, or an expect for you, a grown adult, to say, I have been sober for X amount of years and I have started drinking again, you want other people to stop you? And I know Leah has tried to back some of that up now. The last thing I heard her say about it was, did they force me to drink? No, but it was very clear that I was inebriated and I was, you know, behaving badly, and they said, keep filming. Yeah. They were doing that way before you came on the show. They're going to continue to do it. Like, at what part should they stop? You know what I mean? I don't understand that logic there. But anyways, keeping with Real Housewives of Atlanta, Brit is on my last nerve, per usual. So half of the ladies go to the waterfall and the other half of the ladies go to, it's not a kitchen, it's kind of like a mansion. I can't really remember what it was, but there was some cooking involved. That food did look good, right? And it's Phaedra, Shamia, Cynthia, and Portia all at the waterfall. And Drew, Cynthia, Kelly, and Brit all at the cooking thing. The waterfall ladies, they were having fun. Okay, those are a lot of OG ladies. So when I noticed that, I was like, oh, they're gonna have a time. Back at the cooking station, we're still pressing Drew on why she's not talking about who she's dating. And this is my thing. Drew is going through a very stressful divorce. She is not seriously dating this person. So why the fuck do we keep asking, oh, how do you feel about this napkin? Which is a black napkin. Apparently the person she is dating is named Black. It's not the time. And Portia even says, oh, well, there's photos of them out doing what? There's photos of you and Shamia out. There's photos of everybody out. Freddie O is at every fucking Real Housewives of Atlanta party there has ever been. So what are they doing in the pictures? They just hanging out? They just hanging out. And I'm actually with Drew. Why do we keep focusing on who I may or may not be dating? There's actually dating rumors about every single person in this group. But we need to focus on me. It was a distraction for Shamia. I have no clue if Shamia took Brit out to dinner, lunch, or whatever at Houston's back in Atlanta. Why were the cameras not there? I find that very odd. And while I very much so do not care for Brit, I do think it was shady of Shamia to bring up the donations and what should be donated, and when you're coming with a Rolls Royce and a Birkin. Now, I don't necessarily care because I don't like Brit, right? And I think her reactions to things are really, really bizarre to me. It is very clear that she does not have girlfriends. Whether that's because she says women are jealous of her, I cannot be the judge of, because I've only seen her in this group of women. But some of the social cues just are not there with that one. I feel like she is clearly she's a fan, right? And it's almost as if she doesn't understand that even though you're on this show, which is about conflict and resolution, every single discussion doesn't need to have conflict. I hate to call a woman aggressive, but especially a black woman. But there is something just so combative about every conversation she enters when she thinks that she is not on the same page as the person. It was bizarre. And then how she feels like everybody needs to kind of coddle her and coddle her feelings, right? Her feelings being hurt that her number is not saved in Portia's phone is bizarre. If we're in a group text and I say, everybody put your name up, you don't put your name up, then I don't have your phone number. I do not have your phone number, and I'm not going to keep asking, who is this? And how she views being kind to her, the whole thing was just very bizarre. It's very clear that she does not know how to be a pal, a friend, a buddy at all. She even made a comment at one point where Portia was like, we're just trying to be friendly with you, Brit. Like, even when we first met you, she was like, well, I'm not gonna be fake. The fact that you view being cordial and friendly with somebody that you just met before you get to know them as being fake is weird. We're not asking for you to run up to anybody and be like, oh my God, sis, what's up, blah, blah, how are you? But relationships take time building. You got to get to know somebody. She's exhausting. She is so exhausting. And like I said, just so much of what she says is contradictory. Like, the shots are for hood rats and people who are unmarried, but she can walk around here talking about, I got whips and pistols and things like that. Like, girl, please stop doing this. And I don't know what's about to happen with her and Kelly next week, but I can already tell I'm probably on Kelly's side. Kelly has stood up for her through this entire season, and Brit's behavior is not something that I find easy to stand up for. And even how she was with Shamia at the end of the episode when Shamia got the news about Shiloh, yes, y'all had conflict at dinner. You really could have sat there, prayed with everybody else, prayed over Shamia, and just offered a hug and everything. But she just goes so over the top, which again is bizarre. It's the social cues are not cueing to me, because you sat here and said you felt pressured to drink, then you're gonna take a shot and then you start taking your clothes off in front of everybody. Okay. Now, I was happy that Phaedra said what she said to her in the car. Very direct, very to the point. I felt like Phaedra was already kind of over it with her. And do I think that it fell on deaf ears? Absolutely. Absolutely. But at least we got it out there and it's on film. Now, I don't know how this reunion is really going to take place, because I feel like now that Brit did not show up, it's going to be a lot of Drew and Portia and Shamia. I don't know. There were a lot of things that needed, outside of the photos, to be discussed with Brit, but now she's taken herself out of the equation because she doesn't like accountability, which is funny because she says that that's what she's searching for in her lawsuit. She also told us that she discovered that it was actually not her in the photos. And I'm very, very confused by that, of why she's even more upset because she found out that it wasn't her, right? I don't think that anybody took the time to really examine those photos in depth. Kenya presented them and said it was you. There are probably, you know, some similar features, dark hair, skin complexion, things like that. And it was like, oh, okay, we're going to look away now because this is inappropriate. We shouldn't be seeing it, right? Again, logic is not logicking. Math is not mathing with that one, and I need to stop trying to understand her, I think. But that's gonna wrap up my thoughts on this episode of Real Housewives of Atlanta. I think we only have about 1 or 2 episodes left. 3 tops, I'm positive of it. Again, I'm enjoying this season so far. Don't forget to leave me a comment and let me know how you are feeling about this season. Don't forget to subscribe so you get notifications every time I post a video, and I will talk to y'all later.